It's the final day of the first pre-season test for the Formula One teams. We can get the latest from Rachel Brooks at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. Rachel.
Well, it's the final day of this first pre-season winter test, and Mercedes have certainly been putting the miles in. Toto Wolff told us earlier in the week to look out for new parts on the W07. We saw those teeth yesterday, which were on the floor of the car, just down from where the driver sits in front of the side pods. And today we saw a new nose with an S-duct. An S-duct isn't new to Formula One, but it's new to the Mercedes, so developing all the time as we head in towards the first race of the season on March the 20th. After today, just 4 more days of pre-season testing for the teams. We'll get to speak to Lewis Hamilton a little bit later on about just how the car performed on track today and where he feels Mercedes are at. It looks like it is closer. Ferrari look closer to the Mercedes out on track, but it's very hard to tell at this stage. We'll know more in the second test next week.
Bournemouth captain
Lewis Hamilton has just 2 more days testing after today before the first Grand Prix of the season. Hamilton is again sharing driving with Nico Rosberg on the final day of first testing at the Circuit de Catalunya. The world champion's progress being watched by Mercedes technical director Paddy Lowe. And plenty of attention on the Mercedes today. They're running what's called an S-duct on the front wing. It's designed to clean up airflow and give more downforce, in case you're wondering. Right, let's take you, shall we, to the Circuit de Catalunya, the final day of testing there ahead of the Formula One season. Let's go to Rachel Brooks.
Welcome back to the paddock here in Barcelona for the last day of this first pre-season test. And Ted Kravitz joins me from Sky Sports F1 because only day 4, Ted, but new parts coming all the time onto these cars.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the world champions, shall we? And really, what's impressed me is that they're not just sitting back on their laurels, using the advantage that they already had from 2015. Mercedes have been the most aggressive, the most progressive with their updates. Every other day, we've had something major and innovative on the car, on this Mercedes. On the second day, it was what I call the combine harvester teeth, just in front of the side pod entrance, which is giving more the floor, more downforce. And then today, they come up with the much expected, and they did show their hand, teeny weeny nose with the little S-duct, which is an aerodynamic device which has been on some other cars for quite a while, but which Mercedes have taken their time in perfecting their own way. And so, you know, all credit to them. They're already the best. And now they're just putting device after innovation, after little gizmo on the car that seems to be working so far. And that's the crucial thing. You can put things here and there and teeny tiny bits on the car all you want. But as long as they work, and in Mercedes' case, they do seem to be working.
What about the rest of the field then? Because we saw Ferrari put on the ultra soft tyres. Mercedes haven't even put them on yet. We haven't seen what they've got.
Well, Mercedes haven't ordered any ultra soft tyres. They're not going to put them on. I can tell you that. And this is the thing about Ferrari, you see, because when they've chosen, they've had to make a big step up, but to do that, they've needed a little revolution. So there are so many new things. They're kind of just catching up and getting to the point where they're, certainly faster than last year's Ferrari, perhaps not as fast as this year's Mercedes. So it's going to take Ferrari a little bit longer just to get up to Mercedes' pace. So in short, we do have a championship on our hands. It's going to be much closer. We're going to see Ferrari winning more races than they do last time and taking the fight to Mercedes. But no complacency in there. You know, they are not giving up and they are pushing as hard as ever. And that's really what's impressed me.
And on the other end of the field, McLaren still suffering reliability issues over these 4 days.
Yeah, it's not looking good, McLaren fans, is it? I'm afraid. Don't judge us yet. That's what McLaren are saying. That's what Honda is saying. They're doing a lot of work at this test, and then they'll hopefully put some performance on at the next test. The problem is that work's been interrupted by some pretty serious unreliability. Yesterday, a hydraulic leak led to a little fire, and that called the end of Jenson Button's today. Today, Fernando Alonso has been stuck in the garage. We haven't really seen him do many laps, which has disappointed his home crowd here who've come out to see him. Yeah, I think it's going to be another difficult year for McLaren at this stage.
Well, they could do with it being 3 tests, couldn't they? But it is only 2. This is the final day of this first pre-season winter test. We'll be back here next week for another 4 days, and then that's it. The teams are off to Australia for the first Grand Prix on the 20th of March.
It's coming around quickly, isn't it?
Right, let's head back to Barcelona and testing ahead of the new Formula One season. A lot has been made about the proposed changes to qualifying. What does world champion Lewis Hamilton think?
I just think These ideas that they're coming up with are no good.
Do you want to be consulted more on them as drivers?
Not really. I don't know what the other drivers want, but I don't particularly care to be consulted about it. I just don't think they're particularly special. I don't think it's going to add to the spectacle for the fans, and that's really what we've got to do. I think definitely on the race weekends, for example, we're limited with the amount of tyres we have, so we do less running. We have less engines, so we do less running. And then so when you have these people turn up and spend so much money to come and watch a test day, for example, or a practice day on Friday and Saturday, but they're sat there watching nothing for a period of time because we have no tyres. And then with the racing, there's loads of things, but I feel that it's just to make headlines, these kind of things. They're making this rule, and all it does is cause everyone to talk about it, but it's not going to make no difference.
Well, let's talk about your car then. You tried to break it this week. As always at testing, it seems unbreakable. Not only that, they're bringing new parts every day. It's a pretty exciting time, isn't it?
It is. It's a really exciting period of time for us. I mean, we have less testing now. I've never had a week of testing like this where the car's just gone on and on and on, and it's been physically challenging to go out and just do all the laps. And it's just been incredible. I'm really just proud of all of my guys. To think we've had 2 really successful years, and it's very easy just to drop the ball and be chilled and don't feel like you have to work hard. But everyone's worked even harder than they ever have before, which we thought was impossible. So it's great to see.
Now, Ferrari are setting the pace once again on the final day of F1 testing in Barcelona. Lewis Hamilton has finished his driving duties in the first test at Barcelona, meaning he has just 2 more days of action before the first Grand Prix. He set the 6th fastest time this morning under the watchful gaze of Mercedes technical director Paddy Lowe. Plenty of attention on Mercedes today. They're running what's called an S-duct on the front wing. It's designed to clean up airflow and give more downforce. Well, Ferrari were trying to stop prying eyes getting too close to their car whilst it was in the garage. Kimi Raikkonen eventually emerging to take to the track. He missed out on valuable time in the car yesterday with a fuel system problem, but has gone quickest today on the ultra-soft tyre. McLaren been hit by more reliability problems. Fernando Alonso did get out on the track, but Spanish fans in Barcelona hoping to see him in action have been disappointed. He's failed to set a time and his car is in the garage with a water leak. Well, Lewis Hamilton has had his say on the proposed changes to qualifying for the latest from Barcelona. Let's join Rachel Brooks, who's managed to get her hands on the car everyone wanted last year.
Well, the cars are back out on track for the afternoon session. Just a few hours left now of this first winter test. Nico Rosberg is in the Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton is done for the week, and I spoke to him just after he got out of the car.
These ideas that they're coming up with are no good.
Do you want to be consulted more on them as drivers?
Not really. I don't know what the other drivers want, but I don't particularly care to be consulted about it. I just don't think they're particularly special. I don't think it's going to add to the spectacle for the fans.
Well, let's talk about your car then. I tried to break it this week. As always at testing, it seems unbreakable. Not only that, they're bringing new parts every day. It's a pretty exciting time, isn't it?
It is. It's a really exciting period of time for us. I mean, we have less testing now. I've never had a week of testing like this where the car's just gone on and on and on, and it's been physically challenging to go out and just do all the laps. And it's just been incredible.
So happy Lewis Hamilton leaves Barcelona, but he'll be back in the car next week for the second pre-season test. And then it's on to Australia for the first race of the 2016 season, with Mercedes right now looking in a very good position.
And that cleared that up. Formula One testing is at the halfway stage, with just 4 days next week for teams to prepare for the season opening Grand Prix in Australia. Lewis Hamilton has finished his driving duties in the first test at Barcelona, meaning he has just 2 more days of action before the first Grand Prix. He set the 6th fastest time this morning under the watchful gaze of Mercedes technical director Paddy Lowe. Plenty of attention on the Mercedes today. They're running what's called an S-duct on the front wing. Now, this is designed to clean up airflow and give more downforce. Take their word for that. Hamilton completed 99 laps in the morning session, his quickest time set on medium compound tyres. He left the track shortly before the end of the afternoon. Some fans lucky enough to make it through the scrum to get a picture with the triple world champion. He'll return to Barcelona next Tuesday for the final 4 days of testing. Nico Rosberg was in the Mercedes this afternoon. The Constructors' champions happy to test their car to breaking point. So far it looks indestructible, with the German completing a race distance. He was 7th fastest, but Mercedes had already said they wouldn't be using the quickest tyres in the test. Ferrari will be encouraged by the fact that they look to be consistently quick. They've posted the fastest time of 3 of the last 4 days. Kimi Räikkönen was something of a stop-start session. He completed a modest 80 laps. He was 0.8 of a second quicker than anyone. His time set on the ultra-soft tyre. With just 8 days of testing in total, losing one to a reliability problem is far from ideal, but that was the case for McLaren. Fernando Alonso did get out for 3 laps, but he failed to set a time. And those Spanish fans hoping to see him in action were left disappointed. A water leak keeping him and McLaren in the garage. Toro Rosso are running with what can be best described as a stealth livery. They'll launch their new colour scheme at second testing next week. In the meantime, Max Verstappen is quietly going about his business, setting the 3rd fastest time of the morning. It was a mixed day for Manor and the Indonesian driver Rio Haryanto. He spun out at the turn at 5 for the 2nd day running. Haryanto was fine, but the session stopped while the car was brought back to the garage.
So we've reached the halfway stage in F1 pre-season testing. Rachel Brooks is at the Circuit de Catalunya for us. So Rachel, what have we learned this week?
Well, Joe, it's been fascinating to watch because Ferrari were quick out of the blocks and they showed a bit of their hand. They've had the fastest time of the week. They've had a few of the fastest times on different separate days. And it does look as though they have improved on what they had last year. Whether or not they've caught Mercedes, you'd have to say probably not close enough at the moment. But it will be much more of a battle, and I do think they'll win more races this year than they did last year. And I think there could be more of a challenge, and any slip-ups from Mercedes, Ferrari are there or thereabouts. Elsewhere, well, you'd have to look at that Force India lap from Nico Hülkenberg. Yes, they were pushing the car, and he admitted as much. He said we've pushed probably more than the other teams have this week to see what's there. He topped the timesheet. He was just 0.3 of a second off Sebastian Vettel's time on the quicker ultra-soft tyres. Nico Hülkenberg was on the super soft, so it does look as though Force India have got a really good package to start this season with. If you adjust according to tyres, that lap was one of the best of the week. But it depends whether or not Williams have got anything. Williams always fly under the radar. They don't show their hand until the very last minute. Even on race weekends, in practice on a Friday, you never quite know what they're going to do. So we're waiting to see what Williams can bring and whether or not we'll see any more from that FW38 next week here in Barcelona. Have to look at McLaren. They've had a really tough week. Today, just 3 installation laps for Fernando Alonso. Yesterday afternoon, Jenson Button stopped the car with a hydraulic problem at 2:30 in the afternoon with 3.5 hours left in the day. It's not been good for McLaren or Honda this week, and they had hoped they'd got over those reliability issues. It would seem not, and they've only got 4 days on track now to fix them before they go to Australia. You can also look at the back end. Haas seem to have done a really good job. For a debut team, it's been the best standing start since Toyota in 2002. They've done a fantastic effort to not only get here, but they've had a fairly reliable car. They had a problem today with Esteban Gutierrez, but they've done an awful lot of laps by then, so it's been a really good start for Haas. Manor, we're not quite sure where they are. They like the new Mercedes engine they've got. They say it's been great for the car. They've got 2 rookie drivers, so it's been hard to see what the car's got this week. But it does look as though they, with Renault, with Haas, will be at the back end of the field. But it's the longest season ever coming up, 21 races with the shortest ever pre-season. Those 4 days next week are going to be crucial, and we'll be back here to bring you updates from it every day.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Rachel.
Lewis Hamilton declared himself proud of his team's efforts at the end of F1's first pre-season test. Mercedes have yet to push their car to its limits, but have accumulated over 700 trouble-free laps over 4 days. Ferrari's Kimi Räikkönen was quickest on day 4, but McLaren are under pressure. Fernando Alonso managed just 3 laps today and failed to post a time.
Having produced last year's best car, Mercedes' Paddy Lowe could either stick or twist with its winter redesign. He's played his cards. New aero blades on day 3, a new ducted front and nose on day 4, as he pulled out some aces for him.
It's just been incredible. I'm really just proud of all of my guys. To think we've had 2 really successful years, and it's very easy just to drop the ball and be chilled and don't feel like you have to work hard. But everyone's worked even harder than they ever have before, which we thought was impossible. So it's great to see.
It's proved itself a sturdy car, with over 150 glitch-free laps per day. Remarkable, given 80,000 fresh parts under relentless stress. This delicately secured wing alone takes a 200-kilogram aero load. Enough for Sky heavyweights Ted Kravitz and David Croft to hold a debate on. Mercedes made a fuss of their front via social media. Might that suggest the real performance gains are elsewhere? How much gain yet to be revealed?
We don't know the pace of the car just yet, so all we can say is that it's going to go the distance, and that's half the battle.
Most teams can now focus on performance. Some, like Ferrari and Force India, have already pushed on soft, fast tyres. Renault too have made progress, and might Kevin Magnussen now count his McLaren dismissal a blessing? A water leak meant Fernando Alonso managed just 3 laps, heaping the pressure on for next week. Engine power looks key again. On the same tyres, a year-old Ferrari unit helped Max Verstappen's Toro Rosso go half a second faster than Daniel Kvyat's Renault-engined Red Bull.
I think it's still too early to say, but it all feels very good. I'm enjoying it, and also the relationship with them is very good. We're working very well together, and I think that's always very positive.
Having spun on Wednesday, Manor's Indonesian rookie Rio Haryanto went into the barriers on his second day. If he's on a steep learning curve, he knows he has a solid base for a 3rd straight title. Craig Slater, Sky Sports.